Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Neelambujasya malakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasaya Kacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvansanatham Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Tujanakatmaja Purato Marutiri Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om, salutations to all. So, today we will see some specific prasangs from Bhagwan Ram's life and try to understand Dharma through those prasangs. So, the first prasang I have chosen is where Bharatji goes to Chitrakoot to bring Bhagwan Ram back. Now, yesterday we saw that Dashrath Maharaj, he ensured that when Bharatji was in the Nanihal of Kaikeyi, that time he announced. So first he told Bhagwan Ram that you will be crowned the Yuvraj as the prince. Then he called all the ministers and the important people and he put the proposal in front of them. You want to increase? बढ़ाना है कि कम करना है? हाँ, so बढ़ाइए. So he said that he called all the important people, he asked them, they also gave the approval. Now we know that Kaikeyi then changed her mind, Mantra changed Kaikeyi's mind, and then she was asking the boons, and finally Bhagwan went to the forest. After Bhagwan has gone to the forest, Bharatji has come back. So then when he came back, Vasishtha Maharshi also told him what had happened, and this is the boons that your father has given to Kaikeyi, and so now you have to be the king, so you become the king. Bharatji does not accept that at all. Now one point about understanding Dharma you see here. Very interesting. These are small points of Ramayana, but they give us a lot of insight into what is Dharma. Because we think that Dharma is something which is just do's and don'ts. Blindly one has to follow. But nowhere in our scriptures it is said like that. One has to just blindly follow it. If Guru says something, one should listen or not. And who is Vasishtha Maharshi? Not just the Guru of Bharatji. You know Vasishtha Maharshi's glory? From Ikshvaku onwards, everybody's Guru is Vasishtha Maharshi. For the entire parampara, Vasishtha Maharshi is the Guru. Now just see the authority. That authority is telling him, and the boon is given by the father. See the pressure? Guru's pressure is there, father's pressure is also there. But Bharatji doesn't listen. Now why did he not listen? This act of not listening, can we call this as being not obedient? One may think that way, no? Because what Guru said, one has to do. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma we say. And then the Guru said this. And then why did Bharatji not go? So one very important point we have to understand. When it is said you follow the teachings of the Guru or Bhagwan, elders, parents, etc. The main purpose of that is to help us to make an objective decision and to help us to rise above our ego. Bharatji is, for him, if he follows the decision of the Guru, it is very easy because he is getting the kingdom. But he is very clear that without Bhagwan, this kingdom is useless for me. What is the objective of a Guru? The Guru is the one who leads the person to God. And following the instructions of that Guru, if he is going to be remaining separated from Bhagwan, should he follow? So it is not out of likes and dislikes that he did not follow. He did not follow considering a higher Dharma. And what is that higher Dharma? I cannot be separate from Bhagwan. And 14 years, why should Bhagwan be in the forest and I should be here? So it was not out of likes and dislikes, it is out of a higher understanding. Yesterday we saw that, when our Vivek Shakti has not awakened, then we follow elders, gurus, everyone, so that our Viveka discrimination will arise. And what is the purpose of discrimination to arise? A discrimination, when it arises, in Vedanta we understand, no? Viveka leads to what? Vairagya. That will lead to Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam, Guru Upasatti, and gaining knowledge and becoming one with Bhagwan. So Bharatji said, no, I will not accept. And interesting thing is this Ram Bhagwan also, when in the forest, when Vasishtha Maharshi tells that argument, when it comes, I will take up. But Ram Bhagwan also doesn't listen to Vasishtha Maharshi. Very interesting. We think Ramayana is an idealistic book. Everybody is doing everything, as per the law. And it is not very easy to follow. You see Ramayana, how much flexibility, how much freedom, and how each one relates to the other. Not some idealistic setting somewhere. Bharatji says, no, I don't want to. And he convinces Vasishtha Maharshi, he convinces all the ministers, the Praja, the mothers, everybody, that we will go and bring Bhagwan Ram back. See, the net result is Bharatji, when he went there, all the arguments now we will see. The net result of it is Bhagwan didn't come back. So can we say that the effort that Bharatji put in was wasted? Why? He didn't succeed, no? He didn't succeed in getting Bhagwan Ram back. But you know why Bharatji's going was important? If Bharatji had not gone to bring Bhagwan Ram back, Bhagwan would not have returned even after 14 years. The most important thing that Bharatji accomplished by going there is making Bhagwan aware that first of all, I don't want the kingdom. Second, you must come back. And he takes that promise, if you come back even 1 minute late, I will jump into fire. So Bhagwan knew that he has to come back. Otherwise, like yesterday we saw, Bhagwan was suspecting Bharat also. Thinking that, this Bharat also may be conspiring with his mother. And the Ramayana, if you see, he tells Lakshmanji very clearly that Lakshman, you be here because this Kaikeyi may poison our 2 other mothers. Look at that. That humanness is there. So Bharatji now takes everybody and he goes. He has gone to Chitrakoot. So there, when Bharatji goes there, so I'm not going into the earlier portion and all that. Lakshmanji sees and the dust is coming there, and then he reports to Bhagwan Ram. Bhagwan Ram also suspects, and then finally when Bharatji is coming, from the way he is coming, they understand that he is not coming for attack. So there's a very beautiful portion in Valmiki Ramayana, 100th chapter of this Ayodhya Kand, that is called Kachit Sarga. That is a fantastic portion for management, leadership, administration, all that. And that Sarga is called Kachit Sarga because he starts asking many questions beginning with Kachit. All about leadership, time management, how to handle the employees, what do you do with your ministers, many things, beautiful points. So he first inquires about the kingdom. Then he comes to know, asks about the mothers have already come there, so he can see. Then he asks what happened, because now he sees the mothers and they all are in, Dashrath Maharaj has not come and their clothes are not like the royal clothes. So he wonders what happened. Then he comes to know that Dashrath Maharaj has passed on. So there is sorrow. Many things happened that time. Then, finally when all this is over, he asks Bhagwan Ram, by the way, Bhagwan Ram does Shraddha Karma, okay? Dashrath Maharaj passes on. Bhagwan Ram does the Pindadan, Shraddha Karma, he does. And today we say, why should I do Shraddha? Where is the life after death? What will happen? Person has already gone. Nothing is going to reach that person. And see, that's why I'm saying Dharma Samsthapana when Bhagwan does, in all these ways Bhagwan does Dharma Samsthapana. Gayatri Sandhya Vandan also he does, Shraddha Karma also he does. So many things he does. Because the Jiva exists after the body drops. Only the gross body drops, the subtle body continues. And you will see in this very chapter the importance of that. So, Bhagwan does Shraddha Karma also. Then he asks Bharatji that what brings you here to the forest with all this paraphernalia, why have you come here? With subjects and ministers and wives and everyone you have come here. So why this enormous crowd, enormous army, why have you brought all of them here to the forest? 3 points Bharatji places front of him. Now this portion which comes, this is a discussion between Bhagwan Ram and Bharatji. There are other people also who are watching all this, but there is a lot of learning about Dharma in this small portion and about how Bhagwan does not compromise even an iota. Dharma Paripalan will happen only then. So where we know how to stay firm in certain righteous principles, where we do not compromise, and where we should also know in which situation we should be flexible. Dharma Paripalanam means that. Dharma does not make a person rigid. You see, in the talk yesterday we discussed, vision of oneness. What will strengthen the vision of oneness? Invoke love, help us to follow values and do our duties. That is Dharma Paripalan. And in that the higher Dharma will always take precedence over the lower Dharma. So when to be flexible and when to stay firm, that is a very important understanding, and it is very delicate. It is not easy to determine. You will see in this many arguments that Bharatji gives, anybody else would have said, yes, I accept your argument, what you are saying is right, chalo, I will come with you. So the clarity is there, that when to stay firm and when to know that this is where I can be flexible. We will see now as we go along. So Bharatji puts 3 points. He says why Bhagwan Ram should come back. First point he says is that in the tradition of the Ikshvakus, it is the eldest son who always is the successor. This point later on Vasishtha Maharshi also will bring up. So first point he brings up is that the eldest son succeeds to the throne. Second, he says, I am very, very annoyed. Bharatji is absolutely annoyed with Kaikeyi. He to disrespects her, he uses, foul language for her. So he says, so he is very unwilling, very annoyed, And he says that my mother's attempt should be completely foiled. I do not wish to profit by it. And he goes on to say that how has she ruined the family and its name, ruined her name, ruined my name, and brought devastation to the whole kingdom. And see how he addresses her. He says, my father was induced to this ill proceeding by this Kaikeyi. She has ruined her great name through history and she has committed a great sin. One generally doesn't refer to the mother like that. With a lot of respect one will say. But now this Bharatji has come under tremendous emotion and he is disturbed. So he says, what if my mother has committed is wrong? So you should not follow this, the promise. You have to come back. So that is the second reason. Third reason he gives is that the wish of the people, it is the wish of all the people that you have to come back. That's why he's brought all of them, including mothers. That very Kaikeyi who has asked the boon, she has also come. Very interesting it is that. See the pressure that Bhagwan Ram also will be having. Vashishta Maharshi has come, Vishwamitra Rishi, Vamadev Rishi, all of the gurus, plus all the praja, plus all the ministers, and then all the mothers, everyone has come there. So 3 reasons he gives. Now, see what Bhagwan does is he doesn't directly always answer each of his reasons. Sometimes he answers immediately, sometimes he answers later on. So when these 3 he has given, first thing that what Bhagwan tells Bharatji, you see here. First he says that before I come to that, Bharatji tells one very nice shloka. He says, Ebhishcha sachivai sardham shirasa yachito maya bhratu shishyasya dasasya prasadam kartum arhasi. 3 bhavs he expresses. He says, I am your brother, Bhratuhu. And he says, I am Shishya, I have learnt also many things from you. And I am your Dasa, I am your servant. You please consider this request of mine and you please come back. So to him, Bhagwan tells first thing, he says that Kaikeyi should not be ill-treated by you at all. This is the first learning. Now see how much of objectivity Bhagwan Ram must be having in his heart. Yesterday I told you that as a human he felt in front of Sita ji, he broke down, no? In Ayodhya, he broke down saying, why should I go to forest? What wrong did I do? Kaikeyi should have told me, I would have given the kingdom to Bharat. But why do I have to go to forest? He breaks down. But here what does he do? He tells Bharatji that you should not speak like this about Kaikeyi. And he goes on to say that why do you think that your mother has no right to command you? Why do you dispute her authority? The mother is as good as the father. There is one more point we have to understand. Gender equality, those people who talk about gender equality today, man and woman have to be equal, and woman was always subjugated in the olden days, and man was always, more dominating. You see here, what Bhagwan Ram is saying. Mother is as good as the father. You cannot ill-treat her that way. And he also goes on to say that Yavat pitari dharmagne gauravam loka satkrite tavat dharma bhritam shreshta jananyam api gauravam. How much honor the father has in the entire world, that same honor even the mother has. So you cannot treat her like that. This is the first advice he is getting. Forget Bhagwan Ram replying about his coming. He is thinking about whom? Kaikeyi. You and I, what will we think? Our mind will be with Bharatji, no? That Bharatji is criticizing Kaikeyi, we will also be like that. Correct. This lady is the cause of all wickedness. She only is the cause of all this. Bharat, I am with you. I agree with you. Chalo. We don't need 3 arguments. That one argument is enough. Bhagwan Ram tells him that. Then he goes one step ahead. See his bhav towards his parents. He says, Etabhyam dharmashilabhyam vanam gaccheti raghava matripitrubhyam uktoham katham anyat samachare. He says, I have been ordered by both father and mother to go and live in the forest for 14 years. And he says, dharmashilabhyam. They both are embodiments of dharma. He doesn't say Dashrath Maharaj is embodiment of dharma, mother is not. He says mother is also embodiment of dharma. And so what she is saying, and she had a boon. What is wrong? She didn't ask anything wrong. Bhagwan takes the side of Kaikeyi Mata. Just think about it. He explains to Bharat, because Bharat cannot control his emotion and he is insulting his mother. Bhagwan becomes empathetic. So another thing to learn from Ramayana is that the empathy that Bhagwan Ram has is tremendous. A person who is a dharmic person will have tremendous empathy. Yesterday I told you, when he sees Jatayu, he forgets his sorrow. He puts himself in the shoes of Jatayu, Sugriva, everyone, each one. Lakshmanji, when he is, the arrow, Meghnad has hit the arrow and Lakshmanji is like dead. Nagastra has been hit, now Lakshmanji is on the verge of death. Bhagwan Ram cries like anything and he says that what answer will I give to Mother Sumitra? That this Lakshman who came to protect me, I could not protect him. So his empathy and his sensitivity is very, very high. Here he is teaching Bharatji to put himself in the shoes of Kaikeyi, and he tells what Kaikeyi has done is nothing wrong. She had a boon that Dashrath Maharaj gave and she has encashed the boon. What wrong has Kaikeyi done? Now he is telling Bharatji about that. What wrong Kaikeyi has done? 2 boons were given to her. She can ask any 2 boons, and those 2 boons she has earned because she has saved the life of Dashrath Maharaj. So what wrong has she done? He says she had a legal right to those boons and she demanded them. Where is the harm? Just see. Will anybody have that much objectivity? If somebody tells us something little annoying, we feel we get so much of dvesha against them. From being what he would have been, a prince, to going into forest. Now that is his condition, and he is able to take the side of Kaikeyi and explain to Bharat that what your mother has done is nothing wrong, so don't treat her badly. So point 1. So he says, I do not object to this. Kaikeyi exercised her right and in the direction of natural affection towards an only son. What wrong has she done? It's a natural affection towards you. So he makes her understand that the motherliness of Kaikeyi in that context. Where is the harm? And our father held himself down by the promise that he had made. So that day's arguments end there. 3 points that Bharatji put up. Argument that Bhagwan Ram gave is only this one. And what is that argument? That argument is not about him coming back. The argument is what your mother did is right. And father had supported it. So indirectly he gave the answer saying, I am not coming. Then, the next day, Bharatji brings his next argument. Now, this portion, if you read, it will look like a court battle, The Bharatji is like a counsel and he is presenting his case. So the second argument Bharatji gives now, next day, second day is, he says, okay, fine, you want to follow what the boons of father is. Kingdom belongs to me, no? So okay, now I took the kingdom. Now having got the kingdom, I am giving it to you. See? He says that. In formal law, I have taken the kingdom, it is mine, and I dispose it off now by offering it to you. Take it. Tad dadami tavaivaham bhungshva rajyam akantakam. Tad dadami, you take it, and now you enjoy that kingdom. Come and rule. There is one famous instance of this also in history, apart from this one. Shivaji Maharaj, he had done that, He was very inspired and he wanted to attain mukti. He went to Samarth Ramdas ji and he said, I don't want to take this kingdom, I want mukti, you please bless me for that. So he took. Samarth Ramdas ji said, yes, I take. Now appoint you as the king. You rule. This is not your kingdom, this is my kingdom. Now you rule. Dashrath Maharaj Bharat ji was doing that. Now you see the reply Bhagwan gives here. Bhagwan doesn't tell him anything. He gives 16 verses about ephemeral nature of life. So many beautiful things he says. He says all accumulations come to an end by depletion. Elevations end by crumbling and falling. Unions end by separation. Life ends by death. As a ripe fruit must inevitably fall to the ground, so must a man born inevitably perish. He talks about ephemeral nature, about death. A building supported by strong pillar decays in time and comes down. So do men pass away, victims of age and death. Like that, many examples he gives. One very powerful example he gives here is that as logs of wood come together on the wide ocean and having drifted together for a time, they part from each other, so do wives, sons, kinsmen and possessions come together and separate. This separation is unavoidable. So Bharat, if you are weeping for separation, that is the law of life. At some point or the other, you and I are going to separate. Death can separate us. Life itself will separate us. That analogy is a very powerful analogy. In that same stream of river, logs of wood will travel for some time together, then they will separate. Again after some time they may come together, again they may separate. Who knows for how long? As per karma we will be together. So he says this. He says, no one on the earth ever escapes the course of nature. Mourning for the dead cannot avail one when one's turn comes. So like that he gives many shlokas telling him that what will I do with the kingdom, possessions, all these, when life itself is ephemeral. And to compromise dharma and take the kingdom, it doesn't befit a spiritual seeker. So he has given the answer again. Then I am not coming. Now see how he tackles this. He tackled this from dharmic standpoint only. First he told about mother and father that they are dharmagnyas, they are followers of dharma, they have not done anything wrong, so what they have said we have to follow. Second he said ephemeral nature of life, that why should we run behind temporary things, we should follow dharma. What do we do in our life? We do exactly ulta. To run behind temporary things, we compromise with dharma. Will the temporary things remain with us? No. And dharma that we have compromised, that alone will come with us. A very nice subhashita, Vidya mitram pravaseshu. When a person travels, knowledge is one's friend. Bharya mitram griheshu cha. In the house, wife is supposed to be the friend. Meaning both ways, okay? Spouse. For husband, wife is supposed to be the friend. For wife, husband is supposed to be the friend. Vyadhistasya aushadham mitram. For somebody who is sick, the medicine is the friend. Dharmo mitram mritasya cha. One who dies, who comes with that person? What comes with that person? Only dharma and karma come with us. Everyone else remains here only. Everything else remains here only. So why compromise with dharma? And imagine what kind of spiritual strength that is to say this. That's why I said yesterday that Bhagwan Ram's life is embodiment of tyag and tapasya. Ruling the kingdom is more easy or not? And to reject that kingdom not on some egoistic basis, but on this sound basis of knowledge that why dharma is important, because only if I follow dharma I can realize Brahman. One who has that strength of dharma, only that person can contemplate and realize the truth. That's why when we say Bhagwan Shiva's bull, Bhagwan Shiva's Vahan is Nandi. What is the meaning of Nandi there? Nandi is a bull. Bull is a symbol of Dharma. You see in Bhagavatam also, bull's 4 legs are 4 pillars of Dharma. And each yuga, one pillar keeps getting lesser. One leg keeps getting lesser. There is 1 pillar only in Kali Yuga. So, bull is symbolic of Dharma and Shiva is symbolic of Brahmajnana. So now here you see that Bhagwan Ram gives the entire knowledge to Bharatji, saying life is ephemeral, don't compromise with Dharma. If you think about it, Nachiketa's father was also doing that compromise, saving the good things with him and giving away old dilapidated cows. And Gurudev would say he is giving away such cows who are alive because they don't have energy to die. Such weak cows who can't give any milk, who have eaten all the grass, they have no ability to even chew grass. And this Vishwajit sacrifice in which he is supposed to give away everything, he is giving away only old and outdated, old and dilapidated cows. So Nachiketa goes and asks, to whom will you give me? Now think, there also he tells, Sasyamiva martya pachyate, Sasyamiva ajayate punaha. Like corn, human beings are born and human beings will perish. For what are you saving all this? It is meant for us, human beings. But human being itself is perishable. Like corn, he says, they will be born, they will die, they will born, they will die. For what are you compromising? That small boy is telling the father. That's the strength Dharma brings. So here, Bharatji is told all this. Then, Bharatji also is very clever. He knows all this. So he praises Bhagwan Ram's teachings. He says, yes, that is very true. What you say is right. But he brings up some other arguments. He says, have pity on me. It was when I was away that Kaikeyi behaved in this fashion, fancying that it would please me. See, his feeling towards Kaikeyi is still not changed immediately. Bhagwan Ram said, so slowly it will change. So he says, she deserves to be severely punished. Just look at her. Look at this. This is Ramayana. I am just saying all this not to say that a child can say all this to the mother, okay? I am just saying to make us understand that how relatable is Ramayana and how the interrelationships in Ramayana are, and through this how we see Dharma. So she deserves to be severely punished, but I do not punish her because I am afraid of violating the rule of Dharma. Yesterday I told you, that human emotions are there. But not to fall for those human emotions and still do Dharma, that is the glory of human being. If my emotions are overwhelming and they make me do wrong things, then I am a victim. I am not using my buddhi. Like how Bhagwan Ram went through so many human emotions, but he didn't come under their sway, but he did his duty. Bharatji exhibits the same thing here. He really feels very angry at Kaikeyi. He feels that she deserves punishment. How can she think like this? But he says, I do not punish her. See, as a king, he can punish. If he wants to, he can do anything. He says, I do not punish her because I am scared of violating Dharma. And then he says one more line, I am also afraid of your serious displeasure. And then he says something stunning about his father. As for my father, Dashrath, he was an old man and a dotard. He was in the hands of my mother. Dotard means one who dotes the mother. Whatever the wife says, he will just do. And that's a fact. If you see in Ramayana, of all the 3 queens, the major queens, he was more partial to Kaikeyi, and she is the youngest. And now she is encashing the boons also. Now even if he wanted to not follow it, then he has to follow it. So what happens? Bharatji is feeling all this towards his father also, towards his mother also. He says, see, about Kaikeyi you told me, so I am not punishing her. But, also I don't want your displeasure. So, he says about his father that you quoted about father and father gave the boon and, but father was a dotard. And he goes one more step ahead. He says, The old saying has it that people weaken in their age and become somewhat senile. Bharatji is telling about his father. He may have become senile, because who in the right mind will think that Bharat should become the king and Ram should go to forest? So mother, in her selfishness, she has done it. Father is attached to her and he has done it. So he gives one more advice to Bhagwan Ram now. Now see the relationship between Bhagwan Ram and Bharatji. Bharatji is supposed to be younger, but he gives advice to Bhagwan Ram now. And what he says? He says that you know the word apatya. Apatya means son. So pat means to fall. Apatya means one who will not allow the father to fall from heaven. Meaning one who does the Shraddha karma and all that, no? Then that Sadgati happens to the father. Otherwise the father will fall. Which is what in the Gita also Arjun tells to Bhagwan. That lupta pindodaka kriyaha. When this culture in this society, when the men will die in so many numbers, then who will do the Shraddha karma? Who will do the pinda, udaka, the kriya? And if that is not done, the ancestors will fall. So he says apatya means that a father a son is one who does not allow the father to fall. So he says here that our father, thinking that he was under some obligation or perhaps in the fear of anger of the wife, through some mistake passed an unjust order. The transgression of our father, that unjust order passed by our father, you better undo it, put it right. See the argument? That father gave an unjust order, because of that he will go to hell. By putting it right, you come back, you will save father also. See Bharatji's argument. You will see how Bhagwan Ram puts it across to him separately. When we see the argument reply in the sequence, you will see that. He says apatyam, no? Bhagwan there uses the definition of putra. Both are sons only. The both words meaning sons. But each of them etymologically also mean the same thing. But Bhagwan Ram will give a different reply. So I will not tell now. You wait, suspense little bit. So he says, Piturhi samatikrantam putro ya sadhu manyate. He is called a son in this world who, when the father has gone wrong, puts the matter right. If a son does not do it but obeys his father in the wrong course, then he must not be called apatya. He helps his father's fall, brings it about. You had better be an apatya. See the words, you better be an apatya. He is telling Bhagwan Ram that by setting the wrong thing right, you ensure that father does not go to hell. Now, when he has said this, Ma bhavan dushkritam pituhu. So he says, yes, do not confirm him in the error of his ways. Then we see that Dashrath Maharaj had done this whole thing. He had one intention. See, this choice of Bhagwan Ram was not wrong. But the way in which he went about it, he could have gone about it in a better way. Very instantly, immediately he just announced, he met Bhagwan Ram today, met his people today, and he announced that tomorrow is the coronation. Now that way was where he went. So that could have been better. So now what some people argue is, if promise is so important, Bhagwan Ram stuck to the vachan, right? Vachan that was given to Kaikeyi about the two boons. In that she asked for going to forest. Bhagwan Ram is going to forest and 14 years forest, and then Bharat has to rule. Some people's arguments are, which Lakshmanji and all of them, Bharatji, all of them, their arguments are that if Vachan Purti is so important, then you should go by the Vachan that Dashrath Maharaj gave to you first. He told you that you will become the king, the prince. And he told the Praja also, he asked not the Praja, the important people, that can we make him the king? And when all of them agreed, so it is like a, promise. So which promise? Why should the earlier promise not be held on to? Why are you holding on to the later on promise? See that argument? Bharatji's arguments are fantastic. You will find, will ever anybody find a brother like Bharatji who is ready to give up the whole kingdom and everything, and finding ways and means to give up the kingdom? What happens in the world? Find ways and means to snatch it from the brother. See the Dharma of Ramayana. And we say, is Ramayana relevant today? Ramayana is more relevant today than ever. Brothers are fighting with each other, killing each other. What is not happening in the world in the name of just wealth? Our Guruji says so nicely, the love of wealth has made the wealth of love disappear from our life. We love wealth more than people, relationships, bond. So here it is. So now, first of all, did Dashrath Maharaj promise Bhagwan Ram? It was only a information given, announcement done. It is not a promise, number one. Number two, even to the ministers and other people, he only asked their opinion. He didn't promise anything. Number three, the encashing of the boons happened by Kaikeyi later on. But the boon was given to Kaikeyi much before or not? That is so much before. So that argument of Bharatji, that also falls flat. Then, one argument which comes up here is, suppose there are two promises. One promise Dashrath Maharaj has given to Bhagwan Ram and one he has given to Kaikeyi. Now if two promises are colliding, what should one choose? Like that, there is a choice in front of Bhagwan Ram right now. Going by this promise that the father has given, he will be the king. Given to him. And later on, the same father is telling him, because of mother's boon, that he has to go to forest. So now, as though there are two of these things coming together. When two such things come together, so you see that where two duties demand my obedience, I prefer without hesitation the one which calls for sacrifice on my part. I am not going to be tempted to make a preference which could be brought up against me as having been dictated by purely selfish, unworthy considerations. See, this is the way. When two things are, colliding, we have to choose the higher one, which is more selfless and which may demand more sacrifice from us, not the lower one. And this is again said in Ramayana, where it is said that Bharatji himself approves this about Bhagwan Ram, and he says, my brother, I know your ways. You like to do a thing which brings you trouble. You are an inviter of suffering. You like to sacrifice yourself. I will show you how to make a sacrifice. See, when Bhagwan Ram said this, Bharatji agrees, saying, yes, I know. You will choose the higher one and that will bring you more trouble, and that you sacrifice also. So now, I will tell you how to sacrifice. You see, the argument is fantastic. I enjoyed this portion thoroughly because this is how Dharma is. What is right, what is wrong, black and white, you can't determine so easily. When we say Dharma is, very, very relative, right and wrong is not so easy. It is true, it is not easy, but how to determine, this portion shows. So Bharatji said, I will tell you how to sacrifice. Look at this. He says, do you suppose that keeping all the four varnas in the proper jurisdictional duties is an easy thing? It is an arduous duty and taxes your patience. It will exercise your greatest wisdom. It will give you sleepless nights. Come on, come and take that. As a king, to rule is not going to be very easy. To maintain justice, to do nyaya, to do dharma. So it is more difficult. Life in the forest is more easy. You want to sacrifice, you want to struggle, you want to suffer more, you want to make a choice where you struggle more, come and become the king. See that intelligent argument, I tell you. Bharatji is stunning. We think that Bharatji is bichara one sattvic, pure character who just cries and he takes the Padukas and he goes back and all 14 years he's crying. That is what we see in that serial. That is how they show. But you actually see how he is. Look at his wit, look at his thinking and what all he is telling Bhagwan Ram. And look at Bhagwan Ram's clarity. How he replies to all this. Then another same point in another way he says, of all the ashrams, Grihastha ashram has been put at the head. How can you knowing Dharma get away from it? Come, I am only a boy. Don't put so much pressure on me. My shoulders are unripe shoulders. You come and take the kingdom. He says, you can't live like a Vanaprasthi. You live like a Grihasthi, for that you have to come, stay in the house. Then he says, I am only a boy. This is the third argument. Then he says, in comparison with you, I am but a poor, undeveloped, immature, juvenile. And suppose I rule also, when you are here, what will people say? How can I go and take upon myself all this burden? So he says, I have brought everything. All people are here. I have brought all milk and holy waters and all the chandan, kumkum, akshat, everything, crown, everything I brought. We will do your Rajyabhishek here. Immediate. No need to even come back there. We will do it here and now. And he says, I brought everybody. Whom else do you want? All the priests are here. The men who know the Vedas from end to end are here. Let them anoint you. But Bhagwan Ram is absolutely firm. He just does not relent. Not a slightest sign of yielding he had on his face. Now, the Praja who is standing there, they are praising both of them. They are praising Bharatji, saying, look at his devotion and look at his sacrifice and look at his methods, how he is trying to get Bhagwan back. And they are praising Bhagwan Ram also, saying, look at his steadfastness in Dharma, that what father has told has to be done without compromise. And there is no temptation in him to come back. You see, so the Praja is admiring both. Then Bhagwan Ram now replies. He says, you think that I, being the eldest son, must obey the father. So he said all those things, eldest son and must do right what father has done wrong and so many things. He says, you think that I, being the eldest, must obey the father and that you need not. How is that? What kind of a logic is that? He says, father has laid down on me the duty of going to forest. He has laid down on you another duty, being the king at Ayodhya and ruling the kingdom. You forget that. That is your duty. You are telling me my duty that I should be apatya and I should, correct what father did. But what about your duty? You are supposed to be the king. So he says, go and get yourself crowned. Do not waste time here. Carry out your father's wish as I am carrying out his wish. See? Each one is saying, Bharatji is saying, I will crown you the king. Ramji is saying, no, you go and become the king. Anywhere you have seen this kind of a, voluntary giving up of power. People run behind power, no? They do anything to get power. Here are two brothers giving up power to each other. They don't want power. True power is the power of giving up. And once one has that power of giving up, even if one uses something, one will not be attached to it. You think about it in our life also. Any post, any position that we have, are we greater because of it? If we have the feeling that I am worthy because of it, then we will be attached to it. But if we know that this is a position meant for me to serve, I am going to serve, and even if my position goes away, in whichever way I can continue to serve, I can continue to worship the Lord. Then I will not be hungry for power. I may use power, but I will not be affected by power. So when people say power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, we have to put one asterisk mark there. Asterisk mark means what? Conditions apply. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, there is no doubt. But when? When there is no surrender. Hanumanji had absolute power or not? Did it corrupt him? Not an iota. Why? Full Ramadutmay Matu Janaki. He says, oh Mother Janaki, I am Ramdut. He has no other identity. Bharatji has so much power. Did it corrupt him? No. Vibhishan had power. Did it corrupt him? No. Why? Because surrender is common in all. Ambarish Raja had power, Janak Maharaj had power, Ashwapati Raja had power, Prithu Raja had power. I mean, you look at the list of people, so many people have wielded such mighty powers. But they were not attached to that position. Why? Because anchored in Dharma, anchored in Bhakti. So here he says, go and get yourself crowned, do not waste time. Then he says, please your mother. See that Bhagavan Ram is beautiful. Please your mother by carrying out your father's wish. And how Bhagavan was told that you better be an apatya. So now Bhagavan replies to that, saying you better be a putra. Means what? Now this is one very interesting thing which comes in this portion, where he says that, see this shloka, what is the etymology of putra? It comes here. Putra namno narakad yasmat pitaram trayate sutaha tasmat putra iti prokta pitrun yah pati sarvataha. By the way, that is same etymology for putri also, okay? Pum nama naraka trayate iti putraha and pum nama naraka trayate iti putri also. But still the Shraddha karma is done by the putra because the gotra remains the same. So people generally desire to have a son to continue that gotra. Because scientifically also if you see, X chromosome is in the female and Y chromosome is in the male. XX means a girl will be born, XY means a boy will be born. Now we know that in a child, half the chromosome comes, 50% comes from the mother, 50% comes from the father. So from the mother, the chromosome which will go will only be X. From the father, which will go will only be Y. So only in a son, the Y chromosome will be there. In a daughter, Y chromosome will not be there. How will you preserve Y chromosome and how will you know which lineage this person belongs to if you don't keep that gotra? And if you don't keep that gotra in mind, sagotra marriage will happen down the line. In the same gotra, if people marry, there are a lot of chances of genetic challenges that the child may have and the two people also may have. There are a lot of reasons why this gotra system is created. But we think that it is patriarchy. Smash patriarchy. Why should only woman change gotra? Man should change the gotra. Arey pagal ho kya? Biology badle sakte ho kya? Why should only man have Y chromosome? Let women also have Y chromosome from now onwards. Karo. Stupidity it is, I am telling you. We don't think and then we also start saying, I will not do Kanyadan, I will not change my gotra, I will not change my name. Okay, then get Y chromosome first. Now you see here, that's why the son is desired. So Bhagavan Ram tells Bharatji that a son is desired by people. So he says that a son saves father from Naraka called Pum by performing what is called Ishtapurta, be it in wealth, in temples, he is called Putra. Now he says that you better be a Putra. You asked me to be an Apatyam, I ask you to be a Putra. And what should that Putra do? He says that our Shastra says that one should not just have one son, one should have many sons because life is very uncertain. So if you have more than one son, at least one son will go to Gaya and do the Shraddha Karma. He says, now I am to in Vanvas, I can't go. You go to Gaya, do the Shraddha Karma of father. You are the king, you go there. You do the Shraddha Karma. Now Gaya Shraddha is mentioned by Bhagavan Ram. And please remember, Gaya Shraddha does not mean that once the Shraddha is done in Gaya, Shraddha Gaya. Hello, it has no connection to that. Don't think that ek baar Gaya mein Shraddha kar diya, then I don't have to do Shraddha at all. That is a wrong notion. Nowhere it is said like that in our scripture. Gaya Shraddha has a different significance which will help the ancestors, but you have to continue to do Shraddha whole life. Can we forget the efforts that our ancestors have put for us? Can we say 16 saal tak I will be grateful to them, after that I don't care? No, you can't do that. Shraddha will remind us and it will help them also wherever they are. So he mentions that we want one son at least to go to Gaya and perform Shraddha. So now you are a great man, born to a great noble life, born to enjoy the luxuries, and you go and do. Now Bharatji turns that argument to Bhagavan Ram. He says, no, you are a great man. You are supposed to be, ruling with great luxury and honors of the kingdom. For you to go away and suffer in the forest is a thing intolerable. Bhagavan Ram replies in 2 words. 4 words here. Nothing of that kind. He says nothing like that. Who said that I can't suffer in the forest? Did anybody say that? Nobody has said it. So don't try to tell me that I am born for luxury and enjoyment and kingdom and all that. And he says, don't you go and pity me. He says, don't you go and pity me, my dear younger brother. Don't think that I am going to suffer. You think you are going to enjoy and I am going to suffer. Nothing of the kind. I am no worse than you. There is perfect parity between us. Now, in this Ramayana, in Valmiki Ramayana, what he tells Bharatji is what in Tulsi Ramayana it is shown as that is being told to Mother Kaushalya by Bhagwan. See, he says that Tvam Raja Bharata Bhava Swayam Naranam Vanyanam Ahamapi Raja Ra'e Mriganam. Raja Ra'e Mriganam. You go and be the king over men. I am going to be the king of the wild beasts in the forest. Which is what he said, no? To Mother Kaushalya. He said, Pita Dinu Mohe Kanana Raju. Father has given me the kingdom of forest. Only the person has changed. The expression is the same. Tulsidas ji has taken it straight from here, Valmiki Ramayana. So he says to Bharatji, you go take shelter from the heat of the sun under the famous umbrella. Umbrella meaning the chhatra. When a king walks, there will be an umbrella. He says, you go take the shelter of the umbrella. And what will I do? I shall also protect myself from the heat of the sun by this excellent umbrella of trees. So I am not going to suffer. See, this is the point. We feel that Bhagwan Ram will suffer and Bharatji is going to be enjoying in the kingdom. But what is Bhagwan Ram's attitude? I am not going to suffer. Life in the forest may be hard, but he says, I am not going to suffer. Why? Because it is his decision. He takes responsibility for it. Anybody who takes responsibility for what happens to them in life, they will not suffer. This is another point about Dharma. If I am a dharmic person, I will not suffer because I stand strong in my Dharma and this is my choice and I am happy to face that choice. Even if it is difficult, I will not suffer. Prahlad, he chose or not? Father is telling him, you stop telling Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, you start saying Hiranyaya Namaha, Hiranyaya Namaha. Now he chooses not to say Hiranyaya Namaha and father is trying to kill him. Did he suffer? He went through lot of torture, but did he suffer? Why? Because it is his choice and he is anchored in that choice. And in that there is surrender to Bhagavan. So where is suffering then? No suffering. So here that is what he says. Then further, now Bharatji has given some arguments. What happens now is Vashishta Maharshi comes up. See this now. So Vashishta Maharshi, I told you, he has been the preceptor for such a long time, and he tells Bhagavan Ram that you better come and take the kingdom. Ikshvakunam hi sarvesham raja bhavati purvajaha purvaje navara putro jyeshto rajye bhi shichyate. So he also brings the same argument of Bharatji, saying the eldest one becomes the king. And this tradition has never been broken. Now think about it. When we say Bhagwan is Maryada Purushottam, we say Bhagwan is Maryada Purushottam, but he broke a tradition here or not? Technically he didn't break. It is the father who gave the boon to Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi encashed it. Now Bhagwan is only following the promise. But he could have gone back and followed this tradition. That choice was there with him. But he didn't choose that. Where to choose Dharma, even if it breaks a tradition. Very important to know that. Again, the choice is based on what is selfless. The moment we become selfless and we know what is the higher Dharma, there is no problem at all. If out of selfishness we are breaking the tradition, then that is wrong. So here Vashishta Maharshi says that 3 points Vashishta Maharshi said. You are the eldest, so you must don't break the tradition. And second point he says that you want to obey your father. Now this Vashishta Maharshi says, no, you want to obey your father. He is an old man. I am your guru. Greater than your father. So obey. So one is he asserts his guru status. Second is he tells him about the tradition of the Ikshvaku. So 2 points, not 3, 2 points. And yeah, the third point is same, that when there is an elder son, a younger cannot succeed. If elder son has passed away or something, then the younger can take. But elder son is there, now how can younger be? Now see Bhagavan Ram what he replies here. Yan mata pitarau vrittam tanaye kurutas sada nas supratikaram tattu matra pitracha yat kritam. Look at this, fantastic what Bhagavan Ram says, and he lifted the position of mother and father to something else. He said that no son can ever adequately repay what he takes from his father and from his mother. Don't tell me that the guru is greater than a parent, I won't take it from you. Look at that. Does not mean that guru is any lesser than the father or mother. In our Shastra we are very clear that even in the Taittiriya Upanishad what comes? First comes Matra Devo Bhava, then Pitru Devo Bhava, then comes Acharya Devo Bhava, then comes Atithi Devo Bhava. So mother and father, highest. But once the initiation happens into the Janevu Samskar, and if there is a spiritual guru, and Yoga Vashishta was learnt by Bhagavan Ram from Vashishta Maharshi. So if you have a spiritual guru from whom you learn Brahma Gyan, then that spiritual guru is the highest. In which aspect? In the aspect of Brahma Gyan, and when the whole life is dedicated to pursue that, there one follows the guru unquestioningly. This is Vyavahara. And in this Vyavahara, if by going back and taking up the kingdom, it is going to actually bring about the downfall of the parent, in that context Bhagavan Ram says, I will not accept this pressure that guru is greater than parents, because the action that he will do will bring bad consequences to the parents. And will any guru want that? Vashishta Maharshi, then why did he act like that? It is very strange if you think about it. Do you think Vashishta Maharshi was an enlightened being or not? He is an enlightened being. Still, he tells Bharatji, he doesn't advise Bharatji that you should go and bring Bhagwan Ram back. He tells Bharatji, you become the king. Why did he act like that? He acted like that because then only that brings out the glory of Bharatji. And the devotion of Bharatji that is there for Bhagwan Ram will manifest only then. So we learn another point about Dharma here. that the Guru is one who also is very flexible. The Guru knows when to insist and when to be flexible, and the Guru is one who puts one's ego aside and helps others also to put their ego aside. So the Guru at that point knew that the glory of Bharatji's bhakti has to come out now. That will come out only like this. It's not that he doesn't know this option. He could have told Bharatji straight away that let's go there. But he doesn't. And again here also, he knows that Bhagwan Ram is dharmic and Bhagwan will not come back. But to show the steadiness of Bhagwan, steadfastness of Bhagwan in Dharma, and also to show that what position Bhagwan Ram has kept of his mother and father, that even Vasishtha Maharshi's words, he says, no, I will not come under the pressure just because you are saying my father and mother, what they have said and what they have done for me, nobody can repay them. So a son will never be able to repay. So I will follow that which will do the good to them. In that context, if we now see that how the Vachan Purti is so important, because the status that he has given to father and mother is that high. So he says this, then 100 things the father and mother do to the son, which are like little nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. Who can tell, who can measure, who can ever describe, and who can ever repay the million kindly acts received from one's father and mother? This is the portion where Bhagwan Ram speaks about his father and mother. Just see his mind. He has no ill will towards his father or his mother. Though he may feel pain, please remember, this is the glory of a dharmic person. One may feel. So does it mean that he is putting up a false show? That he is feeling something else inside and outside is just making a false show? A person who makes a false show, cannot have strong abidance in Dharma at all. It is not a false show. It is to make us understand that in us there are both aspects. There is a lower aspect in us and there is a higher aspect in us. It is not that the lower aspect does not exist at all. Lower aspect is there. In some people it is small, less. In some people it is more. Even in very highly evolved people, sometimes the lower aspect will be there. But because of their anchoring in Dharma, that lower aspect has been tamed. And that lower aspect will not affect their duty, performance of the duty. So that's why here he says that, I will not fail to do which my father bade me do. Agnatam yan maya tasya na tan mithya bhavishyati. This is a powerful assertion. Bhagwan Ram says that what my father told me to do and that my mother also wanted, I will not, waver from that. Then we see Vasishtha Maharshi has become silent. Now he goes back and sits. Now again Bharatji comes. Now Bharatji does one emotional drama. Now what is that emotional drama? He says, I will do Prayopavesh. Prayopavesh means what? So he says that spread the mat of kusha grass. I will sit here. I will not eat. I will not sleep. I will not drink water till you agree. Satyagraha. Satyagraha. So he looks at Sumantraji. Go and bring the kusha grass. Sumantraji looks at Bhagwan Ram. Bhagwan Ram doesn't give permission. Sumantraji doesn't go. So Bharatji looks at this whole thing. He says, I will go and get it. You see the humanness of the individual here. Sometimes we glorify these people so much and then we make some image of them and then we are wondering that we can't live like Bharatji. All these things are doable by us, no? Being so humane, he had such great qualities. The beauty of Valmiki Ramayana is that every single character, whether it's Ramji, Lakshmanji, this our Bharatji, each of them, they are so humane. So you can relate, yeah, we also do like this. And yet, in spite of all that, they are so anchored in Dharma. That's the beauty. So if Bharatji says, okay, Sumantra is not getting, He doesn't make an ego issue of saying, Sumantra, I am the king, you are the minister, you better go and bet. No ego issue. Okay, Sumantra is not going, I will go. He goes, brings one kusha grass, he spreads it on the floor, he sits down. Full drama is doing, emotional blackmail. You better listen to me, otherwise, what is it called in now today's language? Emotional atyachar. Bhagwan Ram was also subject to the emotional atyachar. Now he sat down. Now Bhagwan Ram looked at him and he smiled. And what did he say? He says, now brother, what you are going to say? Bharatji is asking him, now brother, what you are going to say? I am not going to eat, I am not going to sleep, I am not going to drink water till you say yes that I am coming back. Now what will you say? So Bhagwan Ram says, this is quite wrong. What you are doing, you are a funny chap. See that? You are a funny chap. Prayopavesha is not our province, meaning we are not eligible to do Prayopavesha. We Kshatriyas ought not to do it. It is only Brahmanas who have got to obtain some debt or some other thing from some fellows, some overdue debt. It is they that have to do this. We ought not to do this. This is not a dharma of a Kshatriya. Kshatriya dharma is to protect life. This Kshatriya is sitting there saying, I will give up life. He is saying, this is not befitting to a Kshatriya. This is not Kshatriya dharma. And see that Brahmano yeka parshvena naran rodhum iharhati natu murdhabhishiktanam vidhi pratyupaveshena. Murdhabhishiktanam means those who have been crowned, meaning those who are Kshatriyas, who are kings, who are prince. They cannot do this. So you are not doing dharma. But interesting thing is, so one very important point about again understanding dharma in Ramayana is, see here, this Bharatji is told by Bhagwan Ram that this is not for us. Now again see the human aspect of Bhagwan Ram. When he goes there to the shores of the oceans and he tells Sagar Devta that you give way, there Bhagwan is doing Prayopavesh. He has put up the grass and is sitting, said 3 days and 3 nights I am fasting and I am not going to eat and drink till you give the way. And what happens? Then why did he do Prayopavesh if he told no to Bharatji? Simple answer is, he forgot. I am not joking, that is a fact. That's why I am saying this is the human aspect. That he knows that Sita is there and he knows that he can just cross all by himself and he can go. But now all these monkeys and bears and everybody has to go there. Now he needs that Sagar Devta to give way. He is very desperate. In that desperation, he's forgotten his dharma. He says, now 3 days and 3 nights I'm waiting, you better give way fatafat now. So he forgot. Then he understood, arey, this is not working. Then he became angry and he took out his bow and arrow and he said, I will dry up this whole ocean. Again, dharma palan you see here. We think, a person who is dharmic will be taken for granted. He is a bichara bhala admi. Nothing. Where you need to use force and you need to show force, you can show force. And if that is your duty, Bhagwan Ram, so he takes up the bow and arrow and says, I will dry up the whole ocean now. There are some people who have to be shown force only. In Hindi they say, na, laaton ke budh baaton se nahi mante. Maro do laat to thakan aa jayegi akkal. Bhagwan didn't have to do also. He took out that arrow and bow and he placed it. But the moment his arrow is placed now, he can't take back the arrow. Today's Rajasthan is created by Bhagwan's arrow. You know that? That is one story. That, Bhagwan was drying up the ocean from Rameshwaram. He was having the arrow on that side. No? Then Sagar Devta appeared and he said, I am sorry, please, I will give the way and I will support the bridge and everything. Now the arrow is put and the arrow can't go back. So then what to do? So they say, Bhagwan, you please shoot in that northwestern direction. There a lot of Rakshasas are living. So he shot there. So the desert is formed because of the arrow. Very interesting. Bhagwan Ram created Rajasthan and Parshuram Bhagwan created Kerala. Avatar Purushas. So now, Prayopavesha I was saying. Interesting is Prayopavesha, 4 people attempt in Ramayana. Bharatji attempts, Bhagwan Ram attempts, Angad also has attempted. Because when they came to know that Sita ji is across, but they don't have definite information, and the time is running out, 100 days are getting over, so this Angad says, we can't go further also, we can't go back also, because if we go without proper information, Sugriv will kill us, because we can't reach before 100 days. He said, if you take more than 100 days and you come without proper information, I will kill you. If you don't have information, you have to come back within 100 days. But after 100 days, if you cross and come without information, I will kill you. So he thought that side also is death, this side also is death, might as well die by doing Prayopavesh, because we can't go that side. Even there, Sampati comes and he breaks the Prayopavesh of Angad. And you know who else thought about Prayopavesh? No, Sita Mata didn't think. No, that she is telling them, why don't, she prays to the Ashoka tree and the stars and all of them, say, why don't you fall on me and fire on me and I want to die. But she doesn't prepare and actually do the Prayopavesh practice. You know, Hanumanji thinks of Prayopavesha. Hanumanji thinks of Prayopavesha, saying that I can't find Sita ji still. What is this happening? Better to die. He also comes in that desperation. But in all the 4 situations, Prayopavesha has got negated in Ramayana. Which means what? There is no such option that is available to us. We should not think of giving up life at all, ever. Unfortunately, today Bharat is our suicide capital of the world. So sad. How many people committing suicides, and so many young people committing suicides. Just 4 days back, somebody told me, some very accomplished director's sister's son committed suicide. 26-year-old boy. Why that happens? Lack of inner strength, some challenges, one couldn't face it. Many things can be the reasons. So, this Bharatji is doing that Prayopavesh. And then Bhagavan said, no, this doesn't befit. So he gets up. He tells all the Praja. He says, why did I bring all of you? Simply you are standing here and watching me and Bhagavan Ram talking. You tell him. So he says that. He appealed to all the people whom he had brought from Ayodhya and said, why don't you say a word to my brother? See how obstinate he is. Speak to him. See their relationship. Now he is calling Bhagavan Ram obstinate. How obstinate he is. Now this Praja, they look at each other. And what will they reply to Bharatji now? See their reply. Beautiful. What are we to do? Your brother seems to be right. You see, your own men desert you. Bhagavan Ram smiles and he tells Bharatji, your own men desert you. This Prayopavesha is wrong. Get up, you fellow. You have done this wrong. You must do Prayaschitta. Go and perform Achamana. Come and touch me. This will purify you. So Bharatji accepts. He does this. He gives up the Prayopavesha. Then he comes back and says, you say that our father has ordered one son to be the king and another son to be a hermit. That is so. You want to obey the father? You obey. I will go to the forest and you become the king. See the combination, see the, what you call, switching. As much he has tried with all so-called possible means to bring Bhagavan Ram back. See, he said, one son should go to the forest and one should go to the kingdom. I will be the one who goes to the forest. You come back and rule. So he says, 14 years I shall pass here. Why should you? Bhagavan Ram, you see his reply, beautiful reply he says. Look at the man who has brought you here. He is looking at the whole Praja and he is telling them, look at the man who has brought you here. See how foolishly he talks. Can I, being ordered to go to the forest and live there for 14 years like a hermit, pass it on to another? Am I justified? Is there anything that will justify me in passing it to another? Can I have this done by proxy? College, na, the attendance they give by proxy. This is not like college attendance. So he says, can I have this done by proxy? You may vote at a bank meeting by proxy. You cannot do this thing. Oh, banks existed at that time. The bank meaning not necessarily our bank only. They must be having some finance system or something. They say you can do all this in some kind of those system, but this cannot happen in this oath, which is very clear that Bhagwan Ram has to go to forest for 14 years. It is not that one son has to go to forest and one son has to go to kingdom. It is not like that. Because this option was discussed by Dashrath Maharaj, Kaikeyi and Bhagwan Ram also. Dashrath Maharaj only offered this option. He also said that let Bharat rule the kingdom, but let not Ram go to the forest. That one option was also discussed by them. But it didn't work. So finally what Kaikeyi said, no, I want both. So he says, when the father has entered into great transactions, when he has sought some things, when he has mortgaged some things, when he has sold some things, am I to go and sue in the law courts? Neither Bharat nor I can change that in the least degree. Na lipaitum shakyam mayava bharatenava. Not even a little bit I can change. This is the uncompromising attitude. We are bound by what our father had done. I will bring shame if I do it. Meaning, if I change this, I will bring shame. And so he says that by following what the father wanted to the T, exactly what the father wanted, when we do that, only then we both will be able to save the father. Earlier was what? Bharatji was saying, you save the father. Bhagwan Ram was saying, you save the father. So what it means, both of them have to follow what the father said, then only father will be saved. So that's what he says here. Vritto rajahi kaikeya maya tadvachanam kritam anritam mochayanena pitaram tam mahipatim. He says, I have saved father, try to save father for my part. Now you do it for your part. Meaning, I will go to the forest, you have to be the king. That is the only solution if we want to save the father. There is no other solution. Now what happens? Devatas come down. The Devatas are listening to all this. Now Devatas come. And what do they say? Maharshis, Devatas, they all come down and they say, this day Sri Ram has done the right thing. It is his action that has saved Dashrath from going to Naraka. He is in Swarga because the debt he owed to Kaikeyi, the tremendous moral debt that he owed to her, however arduous, has been paid to the full by Ram. Dashrath had his place in heaven. Now, you can cancel it and ask him to go back to Ayodhya. The old man must come down. Meaning that this boon has to be fulfilled by both people as it is. No compromise. Now Bharat is not yet beaten. Bharatji is also one very mighty character. He falls at the feet of Bhagwan Ram, he holds them tightly and he says, brother, all right, you think that you have beaten me in argument, perhaps you have. But I am a fool. I cannot go and govern. Who will obey me? Nobody will obey me. All people will say, we want Ram, we want Ram. What can I do? I cannot govern. I have no capacity. What shall I do? He says, this kingdom is yours. Idam rajyam mahaprajna sthapaya pratipadyahi shaktimanasi kakutstha lokasya paripalane. He says, this kingdom belongs to you. You are the most powerful one. This whole kingdom, only you can handle gloriously. Shaktimanasi, you are the most powerful one. So he says, you please accept. Now, and he also further tells him, you appoint a regent and let that regent carry on. So he says that, you see, brother, this kingdom is yours, you accept it and then appoint a regent if you want. He whom you choose and appoint must by that very process become competent to govern. You therefore take the kingdom as yours and appoint somebody to rule on your behalf and in your name and under your authority. Now what Bhagwan Ram replies is fantastic. He says, Agata tvamayim buddhihi swaja vinayiki chaya. Vainayiki chaya. Brishamutsahe tata rakshitum prithivim api. This is a quality of a great king. See what he says, oh my brother, now that you have shown this extraordinary humility, it is not false humility, this is the real humility. Bharatji is saying that I am nobody, I can't rule. You are Kakutstha, you are the Shaktiman. I cannot rule. You only come and rule or you appoint somebody. Bhagavan says, by this very humility you have qualified to become the king. Think, what is the qualification to be a ruler? Today, no qualification is required. Forget no qualification. The worst of people, some of them, they land up in politics and try to rule. Luckily, few years now, many things have changed and revived. Otherwise, where we were landing? Horrible. So, see that line here. He says, my brother, now that you have shown this extraordinary humility, by that very thing you have proved to me your complete competence to govern this kingdom. What is the power? What is the strength to govern a kingdom? Humility. A king, if a king is not humble, cannot be righteous, cannot be impartial, cannot be sensitive. And most of the time we see kings drunk with power, enjoying, aggrandizing, collecting, indulging, and the praja is suffering. What Ramrajya is that then? There is no Ramrajya. In Ramrajya it is this. What is the quality of a king? First quality and the most important one is what he said, Vainayiki. Vainayiki means Vinaya. Vinaya, from there it comes, Vainayiki. So he says, if you have any doubts anywhere, you have plenty of people to advise you. Old ministers, people who have already governed parts of the kingdom, take their advice and go on. But if you still think there is some hope of my returning, dismiss it all from your mind. It cannot be. And then he gives one very, dramatic verse. All the drama that you see in movies and serials and all that is very small little thing. The drama Ramayana has is fantastic drama, especially Valmiki Ramayana. You see that, he says, Lakshmi's Chandradaye, Lakshmi's Chandradape yad, Lakshmi's Chandradapeyadva, Himavan va himam tyajet, Atiyar sagaro velam napratignyam aham pituhu. What a nice shloka it is. He says that Lakshmi can become poor, Chandra can become hot, this Himalayas, they can be without ice, this Sagars, ocean can cross all boundaries, but I will not break the promise given to my father. He said, I won't leave my promise or my dharma. Now, finally Bharatji understood that what Bhagavan is saying is true. So he submits very humbly. He says, okay, if I only have to rule, you please take these Padukas and you stand on it. And you give them to me. And I will place them on the throne and I will take command from you, because for me it is still your kingdom that I am taking care of. So he doesn't become the king. Now see this interesting situation here. Bhagwan Ram has not become the king. So he went to bring Bhagwan Ram didn't come. Bharatji is supposed to rule the kingdom as the king. So he rules the kingdom. But he doesn't get the Rajyabhishek done. He puts the Padukas there. Now if somebody says, so did the Vachan of Dashrath Maharaj get fulfilled or not properly? That anyway Devtas came and already told, no? Because Bharatji is going to go back and take care of the kingdom. Now whether he wears the crown, he doesn't wear the crown, those are smaller details, but he is ruling the kingdom, no? And Bharatji didn't want to rule the kingdom, that also got fulfilled. Dashrath Maharaj's wish also got fulfilled. Bhagwan Ram also went to the forest and the Rakshasas had to be killed, that also got fulfilled. You know, in Tulsi Ramayana, if you read, the Devatas get very upset. Arey, what this Bharatji is doing, Baba? If Bhagwan Ram gets convinced and he goes back, Ravan ka kya hoga? Hamare Rajya ka kya hoga? They are so selfish depicted in that Tulsi Ramayana, no? These Devatas, they don't trust Bhagwan at all. They doubt Bhagwan also, saying, Arey, Bhagwan, these arguments are very convincing. Now if Bhagwan goes away, then what will happen to us? Luckily in Valmiki Ramayana, it is not like that. They come down and they say that this what Bhagwan Ram is doing, that is actually protecting Dashrath Maharaj. So this is one beautiful prasang, and all of us know that Bharatji then took the Padukas, Bhagwan stood on it. What is the meaning of Bhagwan standing on the Padukas? All the powers of Bhagwan are in the Padukas. And you know, the Bharatji used to actually go to the Padukas every single day, and Padukas used to talk to Bharatji. He used to tell the Padukas, this is the plan of action today. In the morning he will tell, this is the plan of action today, and in the evening he will report, this much is accomplished, this much is yet remaining. Again tomorrow morning he will report, and he will take all orders from the Padukas. All decisions are made by Bhagwan's Padukas. Because Bhagwan's Padukas are not Jada, Bhagwan's Padukas are Chaitanya only. Bhagwan's whole body also is like that only. We only feel that Bhagwan's body is made up of flesh. It is not. Chidanandamaya Deha Tumari. Bhagwan's body itself is consciousness only. So when he stood on the Padukas, his power is also there in the Padukas. And what does Bharatji do? He takes those Padukas, puts it on his head, he walks back, meaning Bhagwan Ram is the supreme. Bharatji kept the Padukas on his head, Vasudevji kept Krishna Bhagwan in the basket on his head. That is symbolic. Each of us must carry Bhagwan in our buddhi. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. In the Gita it is said or not? Upanishads, not Gita, Kathopanishad. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. So who is our Sarathi? Is Bhagwan our Sarathi? Is Dharma our Sarathi? If these two happen, then Ram Rajya will be there in our life. Bolo Siyavar Ramachandra ki Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram 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 सियावर रामचंद्र की, पवन सुत हनुमान की, उमापति महादेव की जय। बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।